Hey, I'm JD. Welcome to my channel. A little update on a few things. First of all, I watched Alex Hamilton's video this morning on how to put an impulse jewel back in. A little different than I do, but it's actually the technique of actually using liquid shellac and taking the impulse jewel and putting it on the roller table with using a bench block basically, and then putting the impulse jewel down on that to make sure it's flat. That's a great idea. I've only used the Jurassic Park holding device before to do an impulse jewel, and successfully, and usually I put a grain of shellac on the top and it melts into the gaps, and then I have to fiddle with it with tweezers. So this is probably a better technique because it actually ensures that your impulse jewel is straight up and down. There's no angles at all. And I've had angles before where the impulse jewel is at a slight angle and I've had to reheat it and then move it over a bit and then look at it from all directions, and you're really just eyeballing it to make sure it's in a good shape. So his technique, I think, is better. So I went hunting yesterday for a replacement wick for my spirit lamp. I found this wick very hard to put in, by the way, but I think it might work. I'm going to test this in a few seconds to see if that works, and I think the wick goes down into the alcohol like this. I probably could have left a little more wick down there, but what I'm going to do is shave the head off of this Rockstar here just a bit, and so I don't have to deal with I'm not sure what this will do if it isn't properly wrapped. So I'm just going to shave the head off of this. There we go. So that's the shaved head, and then I'm going to add the alcohol to the wick. What I'm going to do is just basically I say that word a lot, don't I? So you're going to move the wick out like that, and then wet it, and then put that back in like this, and then light the wick and see what happens. I may not even have to have the wick absorb the alcohol down here because I really am not going to use it that much today. So the other thing I want to show you right away is, let me just put this aside, is my mix here for liquid shellac. So I woke up this morning thinking, okay, it's going to be perfect, good, nice liquid shellac. I got to get rid of these things because they're totally useless. So I got to think of a different application for these. Maybe I'm going to give them to my wife and she can use them for oil lamps in the future, blah blah, yada da da da, all that kind of crap. So I've got two other wicks that would work with this as well. So John Wick 3, John Wick 4, and I want to show you what happened with the liquid alcohol, or the liquid shellac. I watched a bunch of videos on liquid shellac, and so there's the result of my liquid shellac. It looks gummy, so it doesn't look like this shellac turned into a nice liquid. And if you poke it a bit, it's kind of spongy, right? So it's a spongy looking shellac, which implies to me that there's probably wax in here. I did a little research on shellac and de-waxed shellac. So coming from this beetle in India that eats the bark or sap off these trees, that determines the color of the shellac, and I think it poops out the shellac. So this is really beetle poop. So I think so. But this is shitty. This is what I would call shitty shellac. So look at that. It's sort of just gummy. I don't think I can use this for watch repair. I am going to try to use some of this to keep to glue something to something. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to use it for, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to heat it up and I'm going to glue it, and I'm going to see if it adheres properly and I get a good strong fix. So this is kind of gummy. So that, I don't think that worked at all. So in the mail I bought this bag of shellac from Amazon. Made in China, it says. Straight from India, but made in China. Whatever. So this is made in China shellac. This, I believe, get tons of wax in it. That's why it was so cheap. It was not de-waxed, and you got to keep this away from babies and children. Keep that away from babies and children. So don't buy this shellac for instrument repair or for watchmaking. So I went and bought, this was $11. I went and sprung and bought the $75 bag of de-waxed shellac, high quality, and it is supposed to be the best stuff, and it is guaranteed to be de-waxed. And so I'm going to mix that de-waxed shellac up next week. I'm not going to do that repair job until next week because I want to work on that. I want to do it properly, and I want to use that technique, and I want to try to get this shellac job done properly. So that's that. Now let's see if I can light this candle up. All right, lighting the candle up. I'm going to show my failures. I know you guys love to see this, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a watch video today, this afternoon. I'm going to take an old watch here and see what I can do with it. So first thing I'm going to do, take some of this IPA and pour it into this. I'm going to end up pouring it back, but I'll pour it in for now, like that, and just basically fill it up. What the hell? I've got other bottles of IPA. So then I'm going to take the wick, John Wick Jr. here, and I'm going to soak the wick into the IPA like this. Hopefully this specific wick works, because if the wick don't work, then I'm a jerk. It's got a rhyme, eh? Pity the man who touches my van. Oh shit, I dropped this in here, so it's not smart. So that's that part of the wick. Let's pull that out now, and then I'm going to reel the wick back into the wick, whatever. I wonder if it's related to Wikipedia at all. What do you think? Wikipedia. Oh my god. My humor is really corny. You call it dad jokes. Before you're a dad, supposedly you never tell these jokes. Well, that's crap, because I've told these jokes my whole life. And then as you get older, they call them dad jokes more often. As you get really old, they still call them dad jokes. They think they call them grandfather jokes or something like that. So let me get my lighter out and see if this actually gives me a flame. Here we go. Should I move this up a bit? You guys want to see this, don't you? All right. Let's blow this baby up. Look at that. I got me a flame. And I'm going to lower the flame here. Lower the flame. May have to pull on this to lower it. I can raise the flame. There we go. Lower the flame. So that is pretty good. That is really good, actually. So I think that will burn nicely, and it'll absorb the alcohol into the wick, and then my flame will burn nice and clean. It actually looks like it's burning nice and clean. So now when I want to melt something, you got to get something to melt here. So if I want to get my little thingamajobby doohickey out here and grab some of this really crappy shellac and just put it on top of the jobby doohickey, see if this will melt this stuff and harden it. There's some stuff there, and I'm just going to put it on top here, and then I'm going to, there we go, that's that right on top, and I'm going to put this on top for a few seconds and see if it's going to melt it. And there we go. I'm cooking it away, cooking, and it's going to ball up on me. See it bubbling? Look at it bubbling. So I've never seen shellac bubble before. So that's probably the wax in the shellac bubbling. So this shellac is not going to work at all. It bubbles. It's bubbling. So that's what happens with waxed shellac. It bubbles. Ow, that's still hot. You tip the lantern over like that.
This better work.
Then you can use the lantern at an angle. That's what's good about these, and you can get something in there to heat up and not worry about this tipping over. And if I push like this, it's not just balancing on the glass, it's solid in there, so there's no issue there at all. So that's good. Let's put this thing out. There we go. Happy birthday to me. And then just to save the integrity of everything, I'll just put the cap on here. Although I don't think this cap really does anything. It just makes me feel better. Now, I've got to take the remaining alcohol, put it back in this jar, because I'm not going to use this lamp for quite some time. So when you decide to pour the alcohol back into the jar, make sure you go outside when you do this, because if you don't, and it spills all over the place, it's a mess, even though it'll evaporate very quick. So as I said, I've got in the mail coming denatured alcohol. That says on it 200%. It's coming from the U.S. It's not cheap. I think it was like $75 a bottle. So I can't get that in Canada. Everything I've got to get that's close is methanol and stuff where they add chemicals. So the rummies, as they used to call them, don't drink the alcohol. So this stuff here even has stuff in it, so you can't drink this alcohol. So not that I ever get this urge to drink the alcohol. Now maybe someone can tell me if I use whiskey, would that work? It's really expensive though. So anyway, got it coming in the mail. So that's it for the video this morning. It's a real quick one. Just wanted to give you an update, and I'm going to be working on a watch this morning. I'm going to hold back on doing the jewel work on the watch I'm to be repairing. I could repair that this morning. I could get the jewel in. I could get it running and then mail it back, but I want to do this technique with this particular watch. So there you go. So thanks again for all the comments. Thanks for subscribing. There were comments made about the color of the shellac, and I know there's 4 different colors of shellac from dark to light, and somebody was saying on the interweb that it's based on this beetle and what the type tree this beetle is eating right in India. So it's a hungry beetle. So that's what they're saying. I don't think, somebody was also saying that if you mix the shellac up properly with denatured alcohol, that'll come out, the mix will come out clear. And I think Sonny was saying, why would that be? Like, even when I use flakes, just basic shellac flakes to melt in a jewel, as you do in the books, the watchmaking books, that's not clear. So it doesn't make any sense at all. So whoever said that, do a little research, and I think the person that said is a very good watchmaker, by the way, so I don't want to insult them. But I think that there's an argument there. So I think this crappy mix here is just a crappy mix. This did not work. I left it overnight. I'm curious, if I leave this just to harden in the air, will it turn into a ball of shellacky, like super hard, or will it ever get hard? So thanks a lot for watching my videos again. I gotta go to work Monday. See, is this hat straight? There we go. I think the hat was straight, but my head was crooked. Bad humor. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. Please comment. I love the comments in the video. The next thing I'm going to be working on, I believe, is going to be this watch here. So let's get at that and get some work done on it. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you later.